Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to be here today with Alex. He's a mind strategist, and we really want to talk about a very important subject today. We were talking about how women and their weight and weight loss um, very often depends on only and most of the time depends on the fact that they are trying to protect themselves. And so, Alex, would you mind to introduce yourself a little bit, and then we go into the subject?
Absolutely. So, hi everyone. My name is Alex, also known as Alex, the Mind Strategist, and I specialize helping women that are obese or overweight who either can't lose weight or can lose the weight but then gain it right back. And I focus really on the not the mind part of the equation, because we talk so often about diet or nutrition and exercise, but the mind is never considered, and that's one of the reasons why people lose the weight but then gain it back, because so many things have to do with the mind. So what you were talking about, what we were talking about a little bit earlier on, is how many women feel that they get unwanted attention from men. And a lot of the women that I work with, when they were very young, they would get a lot of attention from men. And this attention actually was perceived, instead of like as something good, it was perceived as a threat.
And I absolutely agree with that, because I felt that myself too. I remember when I was around 13, 14, I was physically already like a woman, but I was a teenager, and I was starting to get man attention, and I was not used to it because I was a child. I was still a child. I was 13. And I felt like they were even the way they were looking at me was a kind of a threat, and I was shrinking and in fear and didn't even understand what was going on.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, the mind is really, your brain is really made to protect you, to ensure your survival. A lot of people confuse, they say, your mind is made to make you happy. Actually, your mind is there to make you survive. And that's why, when, for example, you were getting unwanted attention from men, or when these women were getting unwanted attention from men, and now it's becoming a threat, now their mind needed to find a way to deal with that threat. And as I was talking to you before, for some women, they would put on a lot of weight so that then they would feel they were less attractive, and then therefore they would get less attention from men. And other women, it was the complete opposite. They would, instead of putting on a lot of weight, they would lose a lot of weight. They would stop eating and they would lose a lot of weight to basically have no curves, and in their mind, and be less attractive, also to get less attention from men, not to get the unwanted attention from men.
And this clearly happened all at unconscious level, because if we were
absolutely
about it, we could possibly do something. But all this is happening at such a deep level inside of us that we are not aware of it. And it's really sabotaging every attempt we make to lose weight or to feel better.
So yes, absolutely, because let's say your mind associate you looking good, you looking great, with unwanted attention from men, and that's a threat. Well, every time these women would try to lose weight, what would happen is that they would gain the weight back, because their mind now was trying to protect them from, again, having the unwanted attention from men, because they were more attractive. So because our mind is such a tool for our survival, the unwanted attention from men, the brain took a decision. Like you said, it was unconscious. And in the vast majority of cases, some women are aware of the decision that they've taken. But for the very vast majority of them, for some women, it was really when we talked, when I went deeper with them, that they actually realized everything that happened and how their mind associated the unwanted attention to a threat, and then they decide either to lose so much weight, or gain so much weight. So it's very interesting. And like you say, what happens is that there's an initial problem, which is the unwanted attention from men. But then what happens is that another problem is created.
I was not aware, and I didn't put on weight also because probably I was very young. But at a certain point, when I arrived at around 19, I had a kind of, I don't know, a sudden awareness. I would say, I'm not going to accept this anymore. I'm not going to accept the fact that I feel inferior and shrunk every time somebody's looking at me, and I claim back my power. And and in one instant it was like, okay, now Elena, you need to be one, put all your pieces together. And I remember I just raised my head, I look at this man fixing his eyes, and he disappeared in 1 second. I said,
yes.
Oh, that's the power of a woman.
Italian woman, yes.
Well, I think it's true all over the world, but
I'm just teasing you.
But yes, Italian men can be extremely aggressive with a woman. So probably we somehow also built our own defenses on that too. But that was a big awareness, but still it was a kind of defense modality too, because I was not, I couldn't allow myself to be me. It's like I really had just to put all my attention on something that I didn't want and let it disappear. It took me much longer to really get the confidence to truly be myself and go out for what I am and attracting what really I want in my life. It's completely different, but that was the first step. So can you tell me more about the mechanism? So you said that women, in order to not to attract men attention, they put on weight. And for example, I remember me doing this with my ex-husband. He was very jealous. So in order not to attract other men attention, I started to eat a lot, not to care about myself that much. So he was kind of feeling safe, and we were playing safe, and not even going out that much, so nobody could see me. But that's not real love, and this is not what you want from a relationship.
Absolutely. And what you describe is that you wanted to prevent the pain that could come from your husband being jealous, your ex-husband being jealous of other men, right? So you stopped going out, you started to eat more, again, because your brain was trying to prevent you from that pain. But here's the thing that many people don't realize is that even though your mind is a survival tool, it's not necessarily going to take decisions that are going to benefit you. For example, so what I mean is, so for example, when you stop going out or when you started to eat a lot of food, these were strategies to make sure you didn't have the pain in the first place, but these things were not making you happier, right?
It's a survival modality.
Absolutely.
So in order
absolutely.
For me to prevent, to keep that reality stable and safe, probably my unconscious mind was creating this. But it's not what I really wanted, and it was not absolutely what made me happy. Right?
And when did you become aware of it?
I became aware of it when we separated for a while, and I was losing weight very fast.
Yes.
So
Yes.
what's going on here? I'm not doing anything special, and so that's
And let me ask you a question. How would your ex-husband express his jealousy?
all with in a very furiously way, like, oh, he's looking at you, what have you done? And of course I didn't do anything. I mean, it's like somebody looking at me. Maybe
Yes.
they were not even looking at me, they were looking at somebody on the other side of the room. It was just normal. We look at people, that doesn't mean anything. But I also understood the jealousy is because, I mean, it's the fear to lose, the person that is next to you. It's kind of insecurity, but sometimes it's also a survival modality. It's like an old probably pattern from a man who had to protect the woman. Yes, but we are not in that wilderness anymore.
Not anymore.
And I'm quite good in protecting myself too. It's in this social, not in the forest, but in this social environment. Yeah.
Yes. And this is what, and when I posted this article, a lot of people, a lot of women actually said this very same thing that you said, absolutely, I agree with this. I've done this earlier on in my life. But actually, some women were like, what? Because for some women, even if they get unwanted attention from men, their brain associates it with them being good looking and them attracting attention. So it's very interesting how for some women it's a threat, and it could be the very same thing. And for some
I
women,
totally get you, because I went through that too. Possibly every woman experienced that you don't want people to see you just like a beautiful woman. And so for a part of my life, I really focus all my attention, my energy on studying a lot and building my career, and was not focusing at all on myself. And then I realized at a certain point again that I could be both, and it's not easy, because I still now a lot of people, you are good looking. So it's like, so if you are good looking, you're meant to be stupid somehow for some people. Or if you are really clever, you are supposed to have their stereotype. You should wear like a jacket, big glasses, or whatever. And it takes really a lot of powerful energy to step in whoever you are and simply be you. And really get out of any thoughts there is, or belief there is outside there. Okay.
Absolutely. And what you're mentioning is so true. And there's a lot of women that, just like you, say, you know what, I don't want a man to be with me or love me because of my looks. But what's actually happening is that then what they do is they either take less good care of their body, they don't wear makeup or various different things. And then what happens is that they start to feel less good about themselves.
Yeah, because it's also all about the self-love. And
yes, and then that makes it even harder for a relationship to be. So, it can be definitely a catch-22. And yes, and like you said, I think that the most important thing for women is to really be aware of it.
Yes.
And say, okay, well, is it possible that, just like you mentioned with your ex-husband, is it possible that in order to not get him jealous, not to get him angry, then I'm putting on weight or I'm not going out. I'm doing everything to try to not make the fire erupt.
Yes, I mean, and there are better tools that are conscious. For example, sit down, have a good conversation about it. Let's stop this because
Yes.
this is not serving our relationship, and this is not going to play the best for me and you.
But what's interesting is that now when you did this, actually you were stepping away from who you truly are inside.
Absolutely, I was trying to
Right?
adjust myself to the situation to make it
Absolutely.
to try to make it better, and actually I was making it worse.
Yep.
And I was like,
Absolutely.
oh my God, I am denying who I am. I'm not taking care of who I am. And it's even worse because, I mean, what you see is that then that person, your fiance, your husband, is losing interest on you because this is actually what you are doing to yourself.
Yeah.
And it's normal that the reaction is exactly the same. And I mean, what we want a partner that is shining bright, his light, and you are so happy to go into the world with them.
Yes.
You don't want somebody to shrink and stay silent into a corner. But when you really
Unless you have these insecurities.
or, I mean, you really care about somebody, you would love to make it work with all your heart, but this is not the right way to make it work. And,
Absolutely.
and it's part of probably of women, we tend to sacrifice ourselves. And I mean, probably we were meant to do that in the past. But this is not, again, the right modality to live a fulfilled life and a fulfilled relationship. Sacrificing why? For what? Really, this is not the purpose of a relationship. It's exactly the opposite. You cannot keep anybody, I don't like that word keep, but out of fear. Really, the only way two people can stay together and be happy, share happy times when they are shining their light and they are themselves and they're free to express whoever they are fully.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So to wrap this up, like I said, there's so much that the mind plays into body weight. And it's not just with unwanted attention from men. It can be a jealous partner. It can be a lot of different things. But what it really comes down to is to be able to look at yourself and say, okay, what is it that is it possible that I'm doing something and that it's affecting my body weight in order to protect myself from something, and really get the awareness about this, because until you have the awareness, it's very tough to change.
Absolutely. And this,
Right.
I would rather say that this is the number one thing, because otherwise you're totally sabotaging yourself on so many different levels, and it's like you're fighting yourself all the time. So,
And also, yeah, absolutely. And to remember that your mind is really there to help you survive. And that's why, when the mind takes a decision, conscious or unconscious, sometimes it's going to create other problems. And it's not that your mind hates you or anything, it's that your mind, it's really there to ensure your survival.
yes, and we
At the
also
very,
need
at
to
the
be
very, very,
able to be, that's part of growing, is this, to see the survivor modality, and it's so part of our genius. I mean, and then be aware of it and transforming it, and really choose for whatever we really want to put in our life.
absolutely.
So really, I'm talking to all the women out there that feel like there is something more than just a diet to take. It's so important to have to look better of all the things that we are unconsciously doing and reframe that in order to be free. That's the point.
Yes, and absolutely. And one thing I tell people nowadays, because you said, you know, it's not just about dieting, it's not about just exercising. And now what I even go and tell people is actually by helping someone lose weight, you can actually not help them. And what I mean by this is that often, and as we just saw, weight is not the real problem. Weight is not really what's the real cause. It's just a symptom. So if weight is not the real cause, but it's just a symptom of another cause, if you help someone lose the weight, then the cause is just going to manifest, either come back as the weight, or it's going to manifest in other ways. And that's why, you know, I'm urging so much weight loss professional and nutritionists and health coaches and dietitian, you know, to really start, personal trainers, to really start and try to understand the mind, because otherwise they might really not be helping the person.
You know, I'm a transformational coach. I'm not a health coach, but this is so true for so many patterns that we keep manifesting in our life, even in other part of our lives. So it's really like go deeper, see which kind of unconscious mechanism you are putting in this situation, and let's see it and let's solve it forever. You know,
yes.
Otherwise, you cannot have different results if you keep thinking at the same level. At the same level, you really need to solve whatever it's going on, and to be, in order to be able to step into your next level and to know you,
absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much for this amazing talk, Alex.
My pleasure, my friend.
And I hope to talk again. So
yes, absolutely. Thank
you. Have a wonderful night, I guess, over there. And
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.